Our enemies and our friends.
While al-Dadu wishes fighting would end, he's already lost family and several colleagues. Today, the Al Jazeera correspondent buried his son Hamzة, also a reporter, killed in an airstrike after Israel says they were targeting a suspect and were aware of others in his car. The latest of at least 75 local journalists to have been killed in Gaza, paying the highest price to report this war to the world. Ura Davis, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, with me in the studio is Mohamed Taha, who is, of course, as you know, from BBC Arabic. Mohamed, good to see you again this morning. So talk us through what happened overnight in more detail.
Yeah, we heard about this strike on northern Gaza, on Jabalia, where a house that was inhabiting more than 80 people, some of them fled to this home to have a refugee. Some of the people that were in the house were prisoners in some of the Israeli prisons at some point, and they were released in this area. This house was struck by an air strike, and more than 60 people were killed in that house. There is a similar incident happened in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza, where more than 15 people killed in a strike on a house. The main point in this strikes that Israel is no more giving any warnings to these homes before the strikes. That's why we can see more and more rising numbers of deaths in these homes. This is also being added to the tragedy that Antony Blinken talked about it, which is the killing of 3 journalists. One of them is Hamzة, الدحدوح, and Mostafa Thuraya. That put the numbers of journalists who were killed in this conflict to 109 journalists. One of them was Mustafa الصواف, who used to be a contributor for the BBC Arabic radio for a long time.
Let's talk about the Secretary of State then, his agenda today. We've mentioned he's travelling to the UAE, Saudi Arabia. What's being said in the Arab press, the Arab media about his trip?
This is the 5th trip of Antony Blinken in the region, and the most wide trip. He been to Turkey, to Greece, to Jordan, to Qatar, and then UAE and Saudi Arabia today. It doesn't look like Antony Blinken has managed to achieve a lot in this trip so far. His main reason for the visit is to containing the conflict, and now we can say comfortably that there are 7 fronts on this conflict. There is the war in Gaza, in West Bank, in Jerusalem. There were a stabbing in the last 24 hours. In Lebanon, the Hezbollah strike the Myron site, and also what's happening regarding the Houthis and in Iraq and Syria.
Of course, he is, expressing and communicating the White House line, trying to get the message to Israel that they shouldn't be targeting civilians, they shouldn't be targeting women and children, etc. What's the feeling about to what extent Israel is listening to him in that respect?
Apparently, they are not listening. They are, as we can see during the Antony Blinken visit, we can see a rising numbers of civilians. The civilians are suffering. They eat a meal a day. They don't have clean water. They don't have showers, as they say. They are really, most of them are in Rafah area in very dire situations. And even the target that Antony Blinken is trying to achieve, which is releasing the hostages, this is not moving as well.
Okay, Mohamed, thank you so much. Good to see you again. Mohamed Taha there from BBC Arabic. Well, let's now bring you some other news.